The extreme drought in the Horn of Africa has resulted in the declaration of famine in 6 regions in Somalia, and the fallout continues to be seen at the Dadaab camp in northeastern Kenya. Thousands of refugees from Somalia and the southern part of Ethiopia are arriving at Dadaab daily, desperately in search of food, water and shelter. VOA reporter Henok Fente joins us on the phone from Dadaab camp with an update on the situation. Henok, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you've been at the Dadaab camp for just over a week. Give us a sense of what you're seeing and the kind of inflow of people daily that we're hearing about.
There is a daily inflow of Somali refugees, mainly in need of food and medical assistance. Many arrive to the registration camps and also to the border town of Leboy, where they are transported by the International Migration Bureau, which is IOM. And what we see here is the refugee crisis has not been abated in any way. It's more stable now, but there is better organization and resources are flowing compared to what aid agencies had to cope with in early May. But aid workers are still functioning under emergency. Let me give you some of the figures. In June, where the refugee crisis started peaking, there were about 15,000 newly arriving refugees. In the first 2 weeks of September, we have about 18,000. Wow. And you can only imagine it's only for 2 weeks. So the number of people that are coming into the refugee camps in Dadaab has actually increased.
Now, Henok, speaking about this increase of people, we heard just last week riots in Mogadishu because of shortage of very basic necessities from food, water, etc. So how are these aid agencies managing to cope in the Dadaab camp in terms of providing these necessities?
It is a challenge. Resources are stretched, and most importantly, most of the aid agencies have been functioning with limited staff, and there is a degree of fatigue, even though the aid organizations have learned to be more organized, and the resources are also flowing to a certain extent. But when refugees arrive, the registration process also takes time. Sometimes people line in front of registration centers for even 2 days, 3 days. Some of them, let me tell you a little bit about how refugees arrive in Dadaab. Some cross the border into the Somali-Kenya border town of Leboy, and they will be transported by IOM. Others make the long trek, 40, 90 kilometers for weeks to arrive at these camps.
And obviously, most of them you've been coming in contact. We only have a very few seconds left, rather. But you are also in southern Somalia. Just very briefly, tell us what you saw over there. I mean, excuse me, southern Ethiopia, where there's also a lot of drought.
I was in southern Ethiopia, and what I saw was drought has been there for 2 years. The rains have failed for 2 years, and this is mainly a pastoralist area. You could see landscapes of dead cattle along the way, all the way to the Kenyan border in the Ethiopian district of Borana, and almost more than 70% of cattle has died in that area. So aid agencies are working, the government is working to do their best to avert a humanitarian crisis in Ndimyake.
Thank you so much. That's a wonderful update on what's going on. Hopefully we'll talk to you again. That's Henok Fente with VOA's Horn of Africa service, and he spoke with us from the Dadaab camp in Kenya.